Gene, just grab a mic.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the special town meeting of September 21st, 2016. I'm Gene Cushman. I'm the town meeting moderator. And if we can all turn and pledge allegiance to the flag, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Assistant Town Clerk, if you could read the call, please.
Notice is hereby given of a special town meeting of the Town of East Lyme to be held on September 21, 2016 at 7 p.m. at the East Lyme Town Hall Upper Meeting Room for the following purposes. 1. Special appropriation in the amount of $200,000 for a Brownsfield assessment grant to complete an environmental assessment of 224 Main Street. Remove the building and develop plans and cost estimates associated with any remediation necessary and the ultimate reuse of the property. Dated at East Lyme, Connecticut, 7th day of September, and this was recorded in the town clerk's office, posted on the signpost, and advertised in the day paper.
Thank you, Madam Town Clerk. As usual, we'll go over the ground rules quickly. Under Connecticut General Statute 7-6, you must be an elector or 18 years of age, a U.S. citizen, and own a taxable property on the grand list of 10-115 of $1,000 or more. Under Connecticut General Statute 9-360, any person not eligible to vote but does vote may be subject to a fine not less than $300, no more than $500, imprisoned for not less than 1 year, no more than 2 years, disenfranchised or all of the above. You appoint the registrars as tellers and checkers if that's needed. If you wish to speak, please come to the podium and give your name and address for the record. If you're not eligible to vote but wish to speak, please make that fact known before you speak. Do not conduct dialogue between yourselves. And only those items on the agenda can be acted upon, and there's only one item on the agenda. And you can make a motion to approve the item, disapprove the item, or reduce the item. You may not make a motion to increase the expenditure. We'll go right to the first item on the agenda, which is a special appropriation in the amount of $200,000 for a Brownsfield assessment grant to complete an environmental assessment for 224 Main Street, remove the building and develop plans and cost estimates associated with the remediation necessary and the ultimate reuse of the property. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Stevens and Kevin. Okay, is there any discussion? Mr. First Select, you want to make any remarks?
Sure, I'll introduce this just to be formal about it. You know, this Friday, it's hard to believe, it will be the 6th anniversary of the referendum. September 23rd, 2010, we had a referendum in this town whether we should buy that property known as Mobile Station. It was Ocean Mart. It's 224 Main Street. It was the old train station in yesteryear. That referendum passed by a 73% positive vote, 1,826 votes to 680. We're finally, I'm happy to report, if we can pass this tonight, happy to report that we are in a position where we're going to be able to demolish the building and remediate any old things that might be buried on that property. We've identified one. It's a small tank that actually will be very easy to bring up, and whatever's under the building we'll be able to determine as well. There should be plenty of money in this $200,000 grant. We don't forget we also saved money from that referendum. We saved about $100,000 in the purchase by waiting and timing our purchase right. So we have some money left over in that referendum authorization to go in and clean up, which was part of that referendum, clean up the property. So we're going to be in a good position to develop that property as a park later on. But this is the first step. This is not East Lyme taxpayer money. Yes, it's money coming from the state. It is things we've paid in for, but it's available money that East Lyme is going to get, and I'm darn proud to say that we're going to get it.
Thank you, Mr. First Selectman. Would anyone else like to be heard? Mr. Randall.
Ron Randall, 194 Boston Post Road, East Lyme. I like that it's not taxpayers' money because the state don't run on air. It runs on taxpayers' money coming out of the taxpayers' pocket. I'm sorry about that. That's not true, okay? Now, I know a little bit about this piece of property. I've been here for 80 years. There was a gas station, the railroad station was there. There was a gas station in there, and Hilliard's gas station, and then he had his tackle shop in there, and he had some buildings, some offices in the, I think it was the old railroad station, if I remember right. Esther Williams' father had a barber shop in there for a while. So we had the railroad station there. We had Mitchell's store. We had Rogers and Sons on that side. Niantic Grill. Smith Insurance. And then the Connecticut Light and Power was there for a good many years. And my dad worked there for a good many years at Connecticut Light and Power. First thing I would like to know is, has there been any tests on the ground? What's in the ground down there? Do we have any test holes? Anything been done to see how much contamination is in the ground? Through you, Mr. Moderator.
Yes, would anyone like to answer that question?
There's been a full phase 1 and phase 2
You have to give
environmental
your name and
study.
address.
And what?
Probably gotta get into the microphone.
And what?
Go here.
Sure.
Bill Shear, Deputy Director of Public Works. There's been a full phase 1 and phase 2 environmental study on the entire site by our consultants, which involves borings and testing of those borings.
And what did they find, Mr.
Go
Moderator?
ahead, you can ask. Go ahead.
What did they find, sir?
There was only 2 areas of concern to date. They found one area with hydrocarbon and one area with lead, which and
They
the
found no PCBs in there?
they found no PCBs. They did identify one area with anomalies with ground penetrating radar and a magnetic anomaly, which they believe is possibly a small tank. And they do not know what's under the building because we could not test that.
Well, I don't know if you know. You probably went around. You probably weren't even born yet. But they piled a lot of stuff down there at the Light and Power. And those transformers were piled there for a long, long time. And they leaked a lot. And just up the road, there was a little coal barn there where the railroad used to pick up the mail. We had coal. They had 55-gallon drums in there all the time. Do you have any kind of an estimate what it's going to cost to clean this piece of property?
We do not have an estimate right now. That we've only identified 2 areas, and lead
No.
and hydrocarbon are, from what I understand from our environmental engineer, is relatively easy to clean up. It's just a dig out and dispose of.
Well, there's a friend of mine just had his property cleaned up in East Hartford. Right now, he's almost $1 million and still climbing. Joe Mingo's old gas station in New London was cleaned up, so spent over $1.5 million by Hendel. Okay? Myron Hendel says it's going to cost over $1 million to clean that place up by the time you're finished. Now, and also, this town bought this, it comes off the tax rolls, right?
That's not my purview.
Does anybody have that answer, Mr. Moderator?
You don't want to answer that question?
You can answer that, if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
Great. We're not arguing and we're not debating whether we should buy this property or not. We already own it, and it came off the tax rolls last year.
How much,
That's
sir,
close.
was the tax on it?
I don't know.
Jeez, I'm telling you.
Off the top of my head?
Well, you know you bought it, you know how much taxes it was collected from there. You should know that. I'm sorry. You know, for 40 years, 50 years, I've been asking questions and never can get any answers. But I want to thank you. I got an answer on the boat yesterday from Mr. Morris. At least it cleans it up a little bit. Thank you. Well, I don't know. I know we bought it. I think we shouldn't have bought it, but hey, people voted for it. But somewhere down the road, I was told by somebody that it might cost around $20,000 to clean that piece of property up. Well, let's see. I'll wait because I can remember a little deal at the tennis court that said it was going to cost this, and then it cost the taxpayers another $109,000. But it seems like East Lyme, Niantic, East Lyme, the town, we always go looking or begging for money from the state. All the time. This is a grant, this is another grant from somebody else. We got all kinds of grant to build a boardwalk. So, but I just hope and pray that the good old East Lyme taxpayers don't have to pay a lot of money when you start digging down there. I'm against it, I always have been, and I am still against it.
Thank you, Mr. Endo. Are you done? Would anyone else like to be heard? Seeing no hands, then we'll move the question. All those in favor of a special appropriation in the amount of $200,000 for a Brownsfield assessment grant to complete an environmental assessment of 224 Main Street, remove the building, and develop plans and cost estimates associated with any remediation necessary and the ultimate reuse of the property, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by saying nay.
No,
The ayes have it. The resolution passes. There's nothing else on the agenda. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
You got it? All those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by saying nay. We are adjourned.